Hello guys, I know I haven't posted in a while, but I'm back here today with a video to help all of you QBs in Football Fusion that want to learn a consistent way to dime. Well over a year ago at this point in my VIP server, I researched different ways to dime the ball, till I found a system that works every single time, and I've been using that ever since. It has to do with the field markers and every power having a specific distance, which I'll describe in the video. But I've kept this system that you're about to see to myself for a super long time, and I feel that as I play less and less, while getting many DMs asking for advice on, how to QB, how to dime, stuff like that, I did make the decision to release it for the public to see. If you're looking for a quick and easy route to becoming a great QB, you're watching the right video, and now we'll get into what you came here for. Before you do anything, you're going to want to go into the options inside the game, which is right here, and click zoom. By doing this, you're basically letting yourself zoom your camera all the way out, or as deep as you want basically, so you can see when your wide receiver is approaching or hit a certain marker, and this will come in very handy later, trust me. Before I show you all the powers that you're going to need to learn, I actually just want to describe what I'm going to mean by the terms marker and distance. So more or less for the term marker, I'm just talking about these, basically these things on the field right here. They all are considered markers, right? And those are what you're going to end up using for the distances that I'm going to describe. For example, I know you don't have it yet, but basically 85 power goes 60 yards. So if you were standing here, if you were standing there, 60 yards would be this. So from here to here, because that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before I gave you the powers so that there was no confusion with that. Without further ado, here you go. These are the powers that are going to make you dime every single time you throw the ball if you do it correctly. So, here you go. You can pause here if you want to, maybe write them down, whatever you want to choose to do, but I'm not going to do on the field examples in game, because that would just take forever, but I will do technical field marker examples, what I did earlier in the video with the field to explain what they were, but anyways, just enjoy the rest of the video. Alrighty, so this is how it works. So obviously you could see for 80 power it would be 50 yards, right? So you would start here. Well, you wouldn't have to start here, but you could, right? So if you were right here and you wanted to throw 80 power in front of you, right? So in front, basically you would have to throw when the wide receiver was, say the wide receiver is running, right? When they hit the 50, the moment they hit it, that's when you throw, right? And you have to put some arc on it as well. You can watch my diming video. You're going to see how I throw personally. That makes this work, but yeah, that's what you have to do, right? So you're standing here, you're waiting, wide receiver hits the 50, you throw. Okay, that's 80 power, right? So you want to do 65 power. You would throw and the wide receiver at the 30. 85 power, 40. 90 power, 30. That's how it works. And then say now we'll do a cross field example. Say you have 80 power equipped, so same power as before. Basically every single time that you want to do a complete cross field, right? So when the wide receiver is running up that way, just basically do what you have to do is subtract 10 yards, okay? So say the wide receiver is running like they were before, they hit the 40, right? Because you have to subtract 10 from, if the wide receiver is right in front, okay? So you subtract 10, you throw it when they hit the 40, okay? That's how it works for crossfield. And if you wanted to do it, where the wide receiver is in the middle and you're right here, you could still do that. You would just have to subtract 5, right? So basically, if you're standing in the same spot as last time, the wide receiver is running, so because you're subtracting 5 from what you would need for a straight throw, it would be 45 yards, right? So right around here. You would throw and your wide receiver hits in between the 40 and 50. Okay, so that's how midfield works. I didn't do the powers for those because it's kind of just self-explanatory, because if you really think about it, all you actually need is the straight powers, right? Say you're standing here, as I went over many times before, you're standing here, all you actually need is these, because all of these right here are just minus 10, and everything in the middle is just minus 5, right? And obviously, say you're at the 30, you're not going to want to throw when the wide receiver hits, because obviously 65 power would get you 30 yards, right? So obviously, wait, so 10, 20, 30. Actually, I'll use 70 as an example for the 30. Okay, so because 70 power goes 40 yards, right? Let me erase some of this. This is getting distracting. Okay. So basically, so if you're at the 30, right? Obviously 70 power goes 40 yards. So 10, 20, 30, 40. Like, you're not going to want to throw like when the wide receiver hits the back of the end zone, because it's going to be out of bounds. Because obviously you have to make sure to keep it in bounds. Okay. So just be smart with it like that. Another example is, so say you're on this 30 and your wide receiver just hit the 10 and you want to throw an 85. I wouldn't recommend it because usually it's out of bounds. If you have a good wide receiver, it's possible, but I just wouldn't recommend that because usually they just dive out, right? But I guess if you're doing leagues or whatever, and you have actual good wide receivers, then maybe consider it. You could test around with it, but yeah, that's how that works. And alright, also, why not? I'll teach you a fade method too. So obviously, say you're on the 10, right? You start right here, right, with the ball. So that's the ball. You hike. Okay, so let's say your wide receiver goes. So they start here, and you tell them to run to the corner. Basically, you can pass it to them, like throwing it kind of high in the air at 55 power. It'll always be a dime. Again, I've probably done this in my other diming videos, which you can watch, and you'll get a good example of it. But 55 power, that's another thing. You have to be running towards them. Run towards them. 55 power, it is a dime every time to the back of the end zone. So that's also super useful. And let's see, anything else? So obviously you have you're starting here, crossfield, midfield, straight. And yeah, obviously test around with it, see how it works for you. I mean, obviously I know it isn't going to work for everybody, but you can maybe see if it really helps you, learn the powers. Because also, once you get really advanced with it, you don't even need to, use the markers. Because say you're right here, right, the 5, which you'd have to be experienced to know like where to throw it with the 5, not with the 5, but at the 5, right? So say your wide receiver's, hitting right here, right, in between the 40 and the 30 right there. Use 85 power. Actually, not 85. I meant 80 power. That's going to be a dime, right? So that's 50 yards. 10, 20, 30, 40. Never mind, that's 60 yards. Yeah. You throw 85 power there, and that's a dime, okay? But obviously, you have to test around with it, see how it works. Because also, I know there's a lot of 95 power QBs, so probably be kind of hard to adjust because you have to throw more like direct with 95, but like the way the lob diming works is you have to arc it a lot so that the CB can't just jump up and get it really easily. So yeah, I mean, that's the end of the video, but hope you learned something about diming. If you want a QB, it's easier on PC if that's what you were also wondering, and peace out.